Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today we are doing another one of Emma's vlogs. And I show the screenshot of just her training at the start so you guys get an idea, but you see it all the way through. And yes, these waves look very, very similar. They look very similar because she's in the same wave of everything. So you guys will see in the next block, we will change exercises up a bit. We'll change her speed work, everything else. So this week we started with a dead pen bench. All right, we started with a dead pen bench. She managed to get 125 off of a dead stop, and then she missed the 130. She couldn't budget off the pins. So I think she's in a good place. I think she's got a bench press PR, and I believe I've got it in the rotation for her to test her flat bench, and I think she's going to get a PR on it. So you guys can see that next week coming up. So after that, we do floor presses. Now with hers, we don't really pause on it. Some people will say, well, why isn't she pausing? Well, we don't always want to pause on the floor press. It's mainly about staying tight, right? It's learning to control, having eccentric control, then being able to reverse without bouncing, right? Because sometimes when you pause on a floor press, unless you're able to stay super tight, it becomes a bar path issue, ends up feeling wonky on your shoulders, and it's just not necessary always, right? You can do it on speed work. It's not always necessary. So then after the floor presses with the football bar, we do dumbbell presses for her right now. Why? She needs more pec. Notice that all of her supplemental pressing is very, very pec dominant, right? She struggled with wider grip benching. She did mostly closed grip for a while. Choice she made. Her and her husband both do a lot of close gripping. They've just always done it that way. And I'm trying to get her more towards wider grip benching. So we're trying to do all of that. And so we need to really, really build up her pecs, right? She's got fairly strong shoulders already. She's got strong delts. It doesn't mean we skip delt work. We're still doing cable laterals and things. So after that, we do pendlay rows. And I may rotate these out in the rotation coming up, right? She's doing pendlay rows now. And I might have missed the footage. I didn't know she had a weighted chin that day. She should have, or a chin up, but I didn't see it there. So then we did sumo deadlifts against 45 pounds of bands. She got 280, right? She got 280, and it was a smooth 282. Wasn't super grindy. So I'm real happy with that. I feel like she's got a strong conventional PR coming up. So I think in the near future, we're going to test her conventional. And I think she's going to hit 300 plus. The most she's ever hit so far, I believe, is 280 off of a conventional. I think she's good for 300. We've already done a 300 sumo recently, which you guys saw on camera. Then she did Romanian deadlifts. Romanian deadlifts. Again, we're putting a lot of posterior chain focus, a lot of hamstring focus. People will notice there's a lot of stretch reflex hamstring movements, and it's due to her structure. And she's progressing on those. She did 165, I believe, there, and then later in the week she managed to hit 170 for 3 sets of 10. I think she's using 120 for these safety bar power good mornings. But again, we use these power good mornings to build her squat. This and the speed squats are what build her squat. The RDLs are helping with her deadlifts, are helping with her adductors. We're again building that sumo up with all of this by again the adductor work, which again her sumo has shot up quickly, and I think it's going to carry over into a stronger conventional for her. But for her, look at her leg length. She had asked me about this the other day too. So what do you mean hamstrings are my limit? Look at her femur length versus torso length. She's got relatively long femurs relative to her torso. So lifters built like her can be very strong deadlifters, but their hamstrings have to be overdeveloped. All right, hamstrings will tend to be the limit. So we are doing a ton of hamstring work, and we're doing a lot of myotatic reflex or stretch reflex hamstring work for her because she needs it. She quite frankly needs it. It will bring that stuff up. Plus, we get the added bonus of the adductors and glutes and low back and everything. But because she's doing these with a relatively wide stance, it's a power type, we work adductors. The Romanian deadlift works adductors. It will carry over to squatting. And then, of course, she does very, very high rep reverse hypers. And like I mentioned last time, for some of my lifters, we do these heavier. We do 10s, right? We do them heavier. For her, I'm doing it as purely restoration. We're doing a lot of hip hinge work already. Every workout we do 3 sets of 10 on 2 different hip hinges. Her hip hinging is fine in terms of total volume. I'm not as worried about that. What I'm worried about is low back restoration. I want to keep her low back healthy. I want to keep her work capacity high in it. And so we're doing this right now. Now, if I need to build her low back up strength-wise and pull one of those movements out, we can always do heavier controlled 10s. All right, speed bench. She does triples on speed bench and gets bands. Her speed is getting quite good. So again, you look at this speed that we're using, all percentages of her bench. Look how much faster this is getting. She's got a bench PR. She's got a bench PR in her. I know she does. So when we test it, it's going to go up. And for her, we rotate grips, right? We do a lot of grip rotation. I believe I have her do 3 sets wide, medium, and close. I need to double check the sheet, but I believe that's what I have her do. All right. We got the chin-ups for day 2. We got footage for it. She got, I believe, 6 chin-ups from a full range of motion. 6 chin-ups. For most guys, this is relatively hard. Women doing 6 full range of motion chin-ups is pretty strong. It's relatively rare. You're not going to see many women pulling that off, right? She did it. So she's getting stronger at this stuff. So you guys notice just in these over time, we're seeing strength increases, right? Versus last week's vlogs versus this week, over 2 weeks of training, she's put 10 pounds on those Romanian deadlift work sets. She's picked up a rep on the chins, right? We always push to get stronger at the supplemental work on this training system. And I don't care whether you're one of my ladies or one of my men. I expect my ladies to get stronger on their supplemental work. And if they can't get stronger on it, we need to rotate it out and put a new movement in that they can get stronger on. All right? Now, notice again for pendlay rows, I have her keep them very strict, very explosive. We don't go real heavy. Again, it's a speed strength movement. Do keep some delt work in for her, even though her delts are very strong. We need to keep them growing. So she does cables right now. She was finding that the dumbbell laterals inflamed her shoulder a bit, so I let her go back over to cables. And that's fine. We can rotate these things around. I can always take her over to rear delt work also more if we need to, for more upper back, which may help with her bench coming up. We may go into a phase where if she needs it for her bench, if we really want to push her bench up, we'll start doing more of that. Now, I did get onto her this week. Notice that she's not locking those extensions. So for anyone who says she's not locking those extensions, I've already told her. We want full range of motion for the triceps. We need those triceps to be able to lock hard on a bench, right? And this movement, again, we're making sure that we get long head activation. And stuff I've talked with you guys about before. On a max bench, there's pretty good data that the long head actually becomes really important when we get above 90%. If you look at the EMG, but the long head doesn't hypertrophy very well from pressing. So we need to fill in that gap with extensions. And we do. Speed squats. Pretty good. They're a little slow this week. Now that I'm looking at this footage, she's usually a little bit faster. So we're seeing a little bit of speed drop off on these compared to what she's capable of doing at her best. Well, in that first one, this one's faster. Notice the bar speed is a bit quicker. Bar speed's a bit quicker. And I do want to keep getting her working on getting wider on these, but again, keeping in mind, it's all relative to your body size. Again, with a lot of men, we want to be out to the edge of those racks. If you're average height, or even some of my shorter guys can get there. For women, it takes a little bit more to get out that. But in her case, she's got long legs. So I'm going to eventually want to see her get to the edges of those racks, because we can see her get that wide on a sumo. She can get that wide on a box squat. So again, sumo speed pulls went good for her. They went really well. Of course, we're going to be rotating in conventional very soon. And then once we get a little bit of conventional speed pulls in, I'll have her test her conventional coming up real quick. RDLs, I think she said she got 170 for 3 sets of 10 on these. And notice she's not strapped up yet. I usually have my lifters strap up for these. I've not talked to her about it at this point. Her grip is holding up fine. We're not worried about development issues. So again, no real problem. Good mornings. Notice again, she does very much a power type good morning, and this is to carry over to the squat. And we like to use a safety bar here. I prefer specialty bars for good mornings if a lifter has them. They have them. In fact, this is not the only specialty bar they have. You guys just haven't seen the others on camera. They actually have, her and her husband have a few different specialty bars at home. Like, they've got a really great setup. 2 rack specialty bars, bands, reverse hyper. It's a nice setup, right? Again, they're serious about making gains. That's why I train them like athletes, even though they are currently both non-competitors. I train them like athletes. And then she finishes up with her reverse hypers. So again, this is another week for you guys in Emma's training. So I hope it has been informative. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next time.